we go.
All right. Welcome back to Building Something Together, hosted by...
added something.
Oh, did I? Was it not something?
It was
Building Together? Okay, so, we're on episode 3. We're still making this stuff as we go.
Yes.
Like, think about it. There's going to be like 4 people who listen to this.
Your mom and dad, Jake and Kathy.
Yeah. Well, and Hyder because he's
guys.
editing it.
Yeah.
Right? So... we're on our walk this morning. We like to do this walk on Sundays. We're not very consistent at it, but when we do it, it's pretty good.
It is always good when we do a walk together. A lot of
Yeah.
ideas flow.
Yeah. Wow. So what happens?
What happens in general or what happened today?
Both. What happens in
Well,
general?
I think in general, walking together, we tend to ideate during that time. We get pretty creative. We talk about a lot of ideas, business stuff, life stuff. We get ideas for this podcast. And then today, I think unexpectedly, we just kind of got in the weeds about finances and all things business.
Like where should we spend the money and what should we
How do we
not?
allocate funds to this or that and justify it depending on what we're bringing in and all the things. So
In the private equity world, we would call that capital allocation.
yes.
Things like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so we're not going that far. Let's be honest. Yeah, and like I think what we stumbled upon was like sometimes it's kind of frustrating that why can't we just sit still?
Yeah.
So you tell me
Oh,
why
I
can't
just
we?
said, also, wait, can we pause and explain this annoying creaking sound in case you can hear it in the background of the podcast?
Okay.
So you explain it.
All right. So we have this. We'll call this the Tequila Farm Shed, right? / Uncharted Spirits Bar. We still don't know what it's called. Well, we know what it's called. That's a longer story. The reason you hear this is because we have a tree running through it, and whenever the wind goes, it sits on the corrugated plastic and makes all the creaking. So there's the answer.
Yeah, so if you're hearing that
Without
in the
the-
background, that's what has happened. It's a windy day in Ventura, and we decided to film during the noisiest time.
Of course.
Anyway,
Yes.
so I think we got in the weeds quickly, unexpectedly on our walk, and I said to Chad, I'm like, "God, sometimes I just wish we could like not have so many ideas or not always be having the desire to build all the time because it's a blessing and a curse and it's exhausting." I'm like, I just kind of want to sit on the couch and like be mindless and not think about a business idea, you know?
Yeah. Or like what we got to do for Tequila
Yeah.
Farm or all this stuff. And
Managing
it's like
QuickBooks and like all the things we're trying
Yeah.
to streamline.
Asana project management.
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes this is where the quintessential, like, I just wish I was sitting on a beach.
Yeah, it's just the grass is always greener.
Yeah, and then you sit on the beach and like, man, I'm bored out of my
bored.
effing mind.
Yeah. So we are like, I mean, I am sometimes the grass is greener, but then I just kind of laugh it off. Like this is just my personality, our personality. We have varying levels of this. Obviously, we're not quite at the same level, but that's probably why we work so well is because we both have this desire to build and create and follow our curiosities. And we're lucky that we can do it together.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you think about it, what I'm hearing is like at the beginning, we were struggling. We were like, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
So then how did we come out the other side where I remember you got in the truck and you're like, okay, I feel better.
I don't remember.
You don't remember that part?
I remember that
because
part,
you
but
sat in the truck and you were instantly like,
Yeah.
I feel better.
I just don't remember.
But there was
exactly.
definitely in between the start and when we got to the end
Yeah.
where it just felt like it was going, it felt like we were in the muckety muck.
Yeah, we were.
So what do you think changed?
I don't remember. I'm trying to like recall what exactly.
So, I mean, we talked a lot of things out, right?
Right.
And there was a lot of things we disagreed on, actually, right? We were like, oh, but where should we do this? And how should we do that? And you're like, no, but you're not listening. And I'm like, oh, but you got to think about it this way. Right? And so it was crazy. But then for some reason, we got to the end.
Well, I think we agree on the philosophy of like the financial side of how money. That's ultimately what we were talking about. How money should be allocated, right?
Yeah.
If we're just being transparent, like what do we pay for? What do we not pay for? How do we prioritize?
Yeah.
What has value and has a ROI?
Well, how do we get more income? Like, how do we take this dollar and turn it into two?
Exactly.
That's
so
literally
we agree on that. Like, it's usually an investment of things like marketing and content versus like buying a fence that's not going to have any value returned to us. So the principles are there and agreed. We're aligned
Sure.
there. But it's just still like, we're in early business together with this flower farm, and there's growing pains.
Yeah. And so I guess what I'm still trying to get at is like, I'm still trying to figure out, how did we come out of this? Because
Do you not remember? Is that what you're asking me? Or you
No, well, I mean, I remember the switch, but I actually don't remember what actually was finally like, yep, we're good.
I don't remember either.
See, this is what people want to hear, right? People want to hear this. How did you come out of that? Because I know for a fact when you build something together,
Yeah.
you see what I did there?
Yeah, I got it.
When you build something together or build together, whatever the title was.
Oh, I think what we agreed. Okay, I remember
okay,
now.
okay.
We were like, okay, we're going to meet in the middle because Chad's on the one aggressive end of the scale. I'm on the other aggressive end of the scale. And we were like, we will meet in the middle and test the waters. It doesn't have to be one way or the other forever. Like, we can play and flex a little bit with our budget on certain categories and spending. And then if it doesn't, fan out to be the way we anticipate it, then we scale back or we refine. So it was like a meet in the middle kind of thing
We negotiated.
We negotiated. And it was and we both agreed like it's not emotional, it's just math.
It is
and
just
we
math.
were like, we just need to sit down and simplify the equation and know like how much, can we do each week and what does that number look like? And then
Yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, right? Like, it's amazing. We go on this walk, but I think this is actually an indicator too. Not only do we have this, but we got a train going by, like all these noises. I love it.
urban flower
You
farming,
love it,
baby.
love it. So I think what really is coming out of this is, I'm trying to think about what the audience is taking away from this, and like what can we give them to say, hey, like try this out, right? First and foremost, go for walks,
Yeah.
because
Otherwise, your energy, it moves your energy.
It moves the energy out. So
Yeah.
if you're in a frustrated spot, like you're going to be frustrated on the walk, but at least the energy is moving
yeah.
while you're walking.
Yeah.
On top of it, like it's also like we use it as connectedness because we don't
Totally.
get to connect throughout the day.
Yeah.
It's hard. You're like darting around doing this.
Totally.
And then it's like, okay, go for a 20-minute walk. We get connectedness.
Yeah.
We get our energy moving, right?
We
so if
realign.
we realign.
Yeah.
And so it's 20-minute walk, right?
Yeah.
25?
Yeah,
maybe?
probably 30.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And like it's funny that we're sitting here because we both can't figure out what was the trigger
I
that
know.
actually got us out of
I
the
know.
the junk, the muckety muck.
Yeah. Well, I remembered and I said it.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, yeah, sure, we negotiated on that, but
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, but we felt better.
Yeah, yeah.
And all it was, hey, why don't we just kind of meet in the middle?
Yeah. We were so heated about it in the beginning, and then now we can't even remember
I
8
can't
hours
remember.
later what we were like disagreeing about. So,
So the takeaway here is simply, I guess, go for walks.
yeah, I
Together.
guess. And like, don't be so bullish on your
Yeah,
side.
fair.
I've got my thing, my views, my beliefs, and it's like, and then Chad's tugging, we're like in a tug of war, even though we do agree and see each other's side. But sometimes it can just be like, you just kind of feel stubborn and bullish. And it's like, just try to like set your ego aside for a second and think through it non-emotionally. I think that's the thing is we've learned to try to like, we most often say this tagline that we never said before, but it's so frequent now in our marriage, and it's just math.
It's just math.
Yeah. So we try to take the emotion out of it, and we're like, okay, we're arguing about something. It's usually just math. It's just numbers, spending,
man.
finances,
It's like,
investments,
what is the
whatever.
emotion behind it, right? What is
Yeah.
the emotion? And usually that emotion, and this is for not now, but that emotion usually is tied to a habit or a memory or experience that you had growing up. Most of you would probably be in your I don't know, mid 30s, 40s, 50s, whatever. So you're going to have these neural nets already just wired and fired and done, right? And it's like it's hard to undo that shit.
Yeah.
And so like part of it is because of that long-term
Yeah.
way your brain was created through your experiences in life, whether
Yeah.
growing up or work or whatever.
And that doesn't mean that's the right way just because it's always been that
Right.
way.
Or the wrong way, or
Yeah.
that's where the emotion usually stems
Yeah,
from is
yeah.
experience.
True.
So,
All right.
all right. Well, that was interesting.
So
So,
get out, take a walk, negotiate.
negotiate.
It's just math.
It's just math. I think that's the thing.
Yeah.
Walk it out.
Yeah.
It's just math.
Walk it out. Move the energy. All right.